everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to my Facebook Live. This is Thursday, January 11th at 7 p.m. I am April Davis. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Spring Hill, Kansas, and I'm so excited that you're joining me tonight. If you are here, please leave a message in the comments so that I can see your comments and see that you're here. I'm double checking to make sure that I have made it live. Yes, I have made it live, so we're good to go. So I'm just excited to have everybody here tonight. Lots of things to talk about. I've got something exciting that I'm going to share with you that I'm really excited about. But before I do that, let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and get this set up just so that we can talk about a few things in the new catalogs. So we've been talking since the 1st of January about the new mini catalog that's come out. We are actually using a bundle that I did last week called Lifetime of Love. That is in the new catalog on page 15. And we're going to be utilizing the paper again, the stamp set, the ribbon, and the they're called Pretty Peacock and Gold, said that wrong. Pretty Pink and Pretty Peacock foiled gems. They're beautiful. So we're going to be utilizing all of that tonight. And we're also going to talk just a little bit about the celebration flyer. This is so exciting. It goes just through the end of February. But remember, when you place an order of $50 or more, you get to select something free out of the mini catalog, or excuse me, the celebration catalog. So it's worth it to get these items for free because they're pretty cool. The other thing that I wanted to just talk about again is if you're interested in the starter kit special that they have, and the starter kit special that they have is this glass mat with its silicone tray and cleaning cloth. I've been loving mine. I use it all the time. So I want to continue to utilize it so you guys can see how versatile it is. But those are the things that are going on right now. I don't want to spend a lot of time on them because I want to get to the to-go part of this class. But the other thing that I wanted to share with you, let me pull these out of the way, is that I've got something exciting that I'm starting, and it's called the Create Happiness Club. If you've looked at my logo, it's April Davis Creations, Create Happiness. I believe that when you're creating happiness, not only for yourself within, but also when you share your creations. I love to create, and I love to share my creations. And what's really cool is that the people who receive my creations also are happy. So I feel like it's a win-win for all of us. So I named my club Create Happiness. It's the Create Happiness Membership Club. It is every other month, so 6 times a year. And basically what you'll do is you'll go in and you'll subscribe, and then I'll invoice you every other month. But this month's cards are from the paper florist dies, and basically what you're doing is you're cutting out flowers from these dies. So you're going to have 4 cards that you're going to create. And then you're also going to have a special 6x6 project that you're going to create. So you're going to receive everything that you need with the exception of the dies in your membership kit. You also are going to receive a half a pack of designer series paper, and you will receive a full bolt of ribbon to go with your kit. And then you're also going to receive the precision tip glue bottle. When you're gluing down all these little flowers and petals and such, the precision tip glue bottle is going to be very handy. So I'm including that in the kit as well. And then of course you're going to get all of the cardstock. If there's any embossing that's done, I'm going to do the embossing for you. There's not much stamping. There's some stamping, but you can use any sentiment that you want to use. So more information on my Create Happiness Club is out on my website, April Davis Creations. You're going to find information out there for the Create Happiness Club to explain everything to you. Enrollment starts January the 15th. And then you're also going to have information out there for the to-go class. So let me pull this back for just a second. Let me see if I can get this done. I want to bring up my my website so you guys can see it for just a second. I'm going to take that down. And just to show you where it's at, you go to aprildaviscreations.com, but then what you're going to do is you're going to go to classes and clubs, and then you'll go to either to-go class, and the to-go class will be explained in there, as well as the Create Happiness Club and all the information there. And I've got it scheduled out through the entire year. Like I said, it's every other month, but go check that out. Today, obviously, is my to-go class. It's a free with purchase class. So if you enjoy what we're making today, then you can choose to place an order in my online store. And when you do, then I will send you the kit for free. It is 3 cards that we're making. All the supplies, I don't do the stamping. You're gonna get 2 of each card. So let's go ahead and get started because I'm really excited to share with you what we're making. So let me get back so that we can get to a place where I can show you what I'm doing. And I'm gonna go ahead and take myself off. I'm gonna take off this. Let me see if we can do this. There we go. A lot of buttons to punch. Okay, let's show you the cards for tonight. So the first card is actually a gift card holder. So you're going to a wedding, you want to take a gift card, you want to decorate your gift card up, make it nice and pretty. So you pull off the belly band, you open this up, and inside is a little pocket for your gift card, and then you've got your congratulations on your wedding day. And certainly you could do this for a birthday as well, or an anniversary. I just did it up for a wedding day, but I'm going to show you how to make this. I did not create this. This is not my idea. There was another demonstrator online that I happened to see, and I just fell in love with what she was doing. So I made my own as well. Her name, I wrote it down. It's Stampin -in something, and I can't read my writing. So to the person who created this, my apologies. I'm gonna write better next time because I want you to take credit for this. But I did create this myself from what she had already designed. So we're gonna be doing that. And then we've got another card that is fun. We've got some embossing techniques. We've got some splatter techniques. So we're going to be doing that. And then we have our third card where we're doing a lot of embossing tonight. In fact, all of our stamping tonight is embossing. But we've embossed on designer series paper, and then we've also colored with our Stampin' blends. And I've got some tips with that as well. So let's go ahead and get started on our gift card holder. I'm going to bring the kit in. Pretty simple. I did a lot of the die cutting early on. So we've got our beautiful DSP. Then we've got a strip of Pretty Peacock for our belly band. I've got a piece of Very Vanilla for the inside sentiment. As I build out the decoration on the belly band, I utilized Very Vanilla and our deckled circle dies to give myself a base so that I could start building out my flowers. And then I've got all my flowers die cut in here. And remember, the designer series paper that we're using that comes with the bundle, what's so cool about this and what I've been having a lot of fun with is that the dies to the bundle actually fit on a number of these flowers. So I just went through and cut out a lot of them so that I could create what I needed to create. So that's what I was actually doing. And then I utilized the distressed gold specialty paper, and I used the dies to cut out my leaves. So all we have to do is assemble now. But before we can even get to that part, we've got to create the gift card holder. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer and embosser, and we're going to start scoring. So I'm going to start by scoring at 1 5/8, 3, 4, 5/8, so 1 5/8. Get that lined up. And then I'll score it here. And then I'm gonna score it at 4 1/4. So we'll come over here and we'll do 4 1/4. Get that lined up. We'll do 5 1/2. And then we have 6 6/8. So let me pull my little arm out. And I'm going to go over to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/8. And score there. Okay. Now I can bring this all back in. Leave it out of the way. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to fold up on one side. We're going to fold up on the other side. So this is our front and our back. And then there's a line in the middle that we're going to score. And so we're going to come up in the middle. So let me get that. And then basically this should line up. If it doesn't line up, you're just going to have to adjust it a little bit. I played with it a number of times to get it to line up. And I'm going to get my bone folder out. And I'll just do a little bit of adjusting here. But basically what happens is you have the center piece. This closes and then this should fold over it. So we're going to do that. And then once we've done that, we need to adhere these pieces together because this is what our pocket is going to be. So I'm going to take some tape. Let me see if I've got mine here. I'll just use my seal. Oh, I've got it right here. My tear and tape. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tear and tape and I'm going to put it along an edge, the bottom edge, to hold this together. Well, hold on a second. I'm going to put it along the bottom edge here because this is going to adhere together this way because this is going to be our pocket. So I want to make sure that I get my tear and tape. Whoops, I don't want to get it into my leaves, but I'm going to put my tear and tape here on this edge down at the very bottom. So this will come together and then I'm going to put tear and tape on each side. I'm going to double check this to make sure I'm telling you right. Yes, tear and tape on each side. Many times I make these because I plan so far in advance. It's been a while since I've made this one, so sometimes I forget a little bit, but it all comes back to me. I'm going to burnish that tear and tape down just so that it sticks, and then I'll use my take your pick to help pull off the tape. It's two-sided tape, so we'll pull that off. And then we're just going to press these together. So now we've got what will be our pocket, but it's not a pocket yet. So what I need to do is I'm going to take my oval punch and I'm going to open it up. And all I really want to do is I want to come in far enough on that fold to just make a little indentation. It'll make it easier to get the gift card in there. So I'm going to punch that out. So we've got that. And then if I hadn't glued it down yet, this would have been easier. So wait to glue it down. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the top of these open. And the reason that I'm going to do that is to give more room for the gift card. So basically I'm creating that pocket. So we'll do it on this side too. I guess it doesn't matter. It's probably easier just to cut it apart before you glue it together. But since I glued it together first. But now I've got my little pocket so my gift card can fit in here. Okay, and so now it's time to start decorating. Let's pull out my little gift card and see if we can get it to fit. Yep, fits right in there, folds up. Here you go. So now we've got that part of it. So now it's the fun part. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do some embossing first because we've got the inside layer that we're going to put in. In this particular one, we are embossing. It says, congratulations on your wedding day. So I'm gonna bring out the Versamark ink. I'm going to bring out my embossing buddy. I use the embossing buddy because I've been touching this cardstock and there's probably fingerprints and the oils from my fingers on it, and the embossing powder will stick to it if I don't use the powder on it. So this helps to alleviate the embossing powder sticking any place other than where you want it to be. So I'm gonna open up the Versamark. I've got my congratulations on your wedding day. I'm gonna make sure I get it good and inked up. And then I'm just gonna line it up and see if I can get it fairly straight on my card. So let me see, I'm gonna go right about here. And I'm gonna go ahead and stamp that down, bring it up. I'm gonna close this up and get this out of the way. I'll clean my stamp here in just a second, but I wanna bring in my embossing powder. So I'm gonna move this off to the side. This is gold embossing powder. Stampin' Up! Has a lot of different metallic powders. I just use a lot of this, so I keep it in a little container like this to make it easier for me to dip my cards in and just kind of coat them with embossing powder. And then I keep the mess in the bowl or the container. So I'm gonna move that out of the way for now. I'm gonna bring in my embossing gun. Make sure everything looks good here. You can see that nothing stuck to it. It did all the sticking to the Versamark ink, so that's good. So let me turn this on. It's gonna get a little loud for just a second. We're gonna be doing a lot of this tonight, but we'll get it warmed up and then we can go. Then we're just gonna hover it over the top, kind of moving it around. You will see when the ink starts, or the embossing, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm gonna set this down. The mat is heat resistant as well, so I can actually have it on the mat and do it. But what I'm doing is I'm making sure I've got everything covered. You'll see all of the powder has melted and it becomes very shiny. And you want to double check to make sure you've gotten everything, because if you don't get all of your embossing powder, then you could rub your finger against it and actually wipe it off. But now that we've got that, I'm going to take our gift card out for now, and we're going to adhere the inside sentiment down. And then what we'll do is we'll start to work on the belly band. So let's get this down right here. They open it up and the gift card pops up, and then you've got your sentiment right here. And there's room, obviously, for you to be able to sign. But again, it doesn't have to be for a wedding. It can be for an anniversary. It can be for a birthday. It's just a fun way to display your gift card. So we've got that. I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to bring the belly band in. And before I put the belly band on or start working on the belly band, I'm actually going to create my centerpiece. So I've got my very vanilla that I cut from our deckled circle dies, and I've got a couple of these flowers that I cut out. So I'm just going to kind of, I'm going to arrange them the way that I want to arrange them. And then once I get that done, I'll get these glued down here in just a second, but I'm gonna lay my leaves over the top, and I'm just gonna basically hide the ends of these leaves with my last flower, and I'm gonna pop it up. So really all I have to do is start gluing all of these down. So let's go ahead and get that done. So we've got this one. I'm gonna bring my glue up a little bit closer. And you know I use my precision tip glue bottle all the time. Actually, I'm seeing something here that I want to do. I'm looking at this, and I know I've got glue on it. So this is, let me see if I can wipe some of this off on my silicone mat. I'm just going to try to wipe some of this off. But when I cut it out, apparently the dye that I was using matched part of the flower, but it didn't match all of the flower. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of fussy cutting which I don't mind at all. There's a number of different dies, and there's a number of different flowers that the dies match. And the fact that it didn't match this one completely is definitely not a problem for me, because you can see this one, I had the same situation. It cut out most of it. So having to fussy cut a little bit of this is not going to be a problem for me. I would rather fussy cut a little bit than have to fussy cut a lot. And the fact that the die did the majority of the work for me is a-okay with me. So let me go ahead and do this. I'm sorry I didn't catch it initially. So we'll get back to where we were at with this particular and the silicone mat. I love the silicone mat because this, this flower had glue on the back of it. But what I can do is I can just pull it right up off of my mat. I'm going to add a little bit more glue to it just to make sure that I've got it sticky enough. But my silicone mat saves me a lot when I'm trying to get things put together. So let me go ahead and adjust it here, like so. And I want to show you something else. So because I had put this flower down and pulled it back off, I didn't necessarily put it back in the exact same place. And so I've got a little bit of adhesive. Maybe you can see, if I bring it up a little bit closer to the camera, you can see a little bit of adhesive that's there. I have what you call an adhesive eraser. This needs to be part of your toolkit, if you will, because basically we always get glue where it's not supposed to go. We don't mean to do it, but it happens. So basically what I can do is I can look to see where I got glue that I didn't mean to have it, or I put something down and pulled it up, but now that glue is gone, so I can continue working. So I always have my adhesive eraser on hand to help me out. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this flower all set up. Trying to stay in frame. I tend to work close to my body, and so I want to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing, but I'm just using obviously my circle to make my centerpiece. And then with my leaves, I'm not going to glue them all down. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take my precision tip glue bottle and I'm just going to put little dots of glue on some of the leaves, and then I'll lay them down in the center. So it gives it a little bit of dimension because you're not gluing it all down. You're leaving like the top part of it up, but you certainly want to get a good part of it glued down so that it doesn't come off. But there's no sense in having to glue the whole set of leaves down. It gives them a little bit of dimension when they can pop up. So let me go ahead and get this last one on. And the other thing is that your designs most likely will never look exactly the same. I'm not doing this exactly the way that I did the last one, and it's just creative choice. I just start working, and it's wherever I decide to put things. It's mostly like it, but there's always a little bit of a difference. So I am looking for my tweezers. I'm going to put a few dimensionals on the back of my, the back of my flower. I'm going to make sure I get enough. Let me see. Can I squeeze another one in there? I really want my flower to have good stability on top of these little leaves, because the flower is also going to help to hold the leaves down. So now I've got that. I'm going to go ahead and take these off. Looking to see, oh, hi Mom, hi Krista. Good to see you guys. I know, I love the pretty peacock too. If you couldn't tell, I somehow incorporated it into my cards all the time. So now that we've got this, I'm going to make the belly band. So the belly band is just a strip of cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and close our folder up, and I'm going to wrap the belly band around the folder. I'm going to wrap it very loosely. I don't want it to be tight because it is a belly band and I want it to be able to come off. So I'm going to wrap it loosely around this way and around this way. Obviously, I want it to line up, and I've got a lot of excess, so I just want to finagle it so that I get it to line up appropriately, but I also want to make sure that it's gonna come off. So what I'll do is I'll put a strip of my Terran tape, which I know is here because I just used it. It's kind of hard to believe that I'm working in such a small space that I could lose things, but I do. So let's put some Terran tape right here on the end. And then what we'll do is we'll line this up again, making sure that it's loose enough that we don't have it too tight. And then once I've got that, I'm going to take off the tape cover so that we can press this down. Again, lining it up. Okay. And then we've got this excess, and we don't need the excess, so I'm just going to trim that excess off right about here. Okay? And if it doesn't look like it's very even, which it doesn't really look like it's very even, don't worry, because I've got a little piece to cover it up. You'll never ever know. But what I want to do before I actually put my centerpiece on is I want to incorporate some of this gorgeous, gorgeous ribbon. It's called the Pretty Peacock Gold, Pretty Peacock in Gold ribbon. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure enough that we're going to wrap it around. It doesn't have to go all the way around, but I'm going to use my ribbon scissors because this ribbon does fray. It's just got a very loose weave to it, so it does fray. So you want to make sure that you're using really sharp scissors. And I've got, actually I can probably put some more Terran tape down. So let's just put some Terran tape down the middle here. I was going to use glue dots, but I think I'm just going to use my Terran tape. So hopefully I got it down enough that they're both the ends are going to meet. Yes, they do. So let's go ahead and pull this off. And we'll stick that down, pull it tight from the other side. Stick that down. So now we've got our ribbon down, goes all the way around the back of the belly band. And then what we can do is we can take our sentiment, or our centerpiece, if you will, and actually I'm going to put it down with Terran tape as well. I just want it to be very sturdy, and the Terran tape is a strong tape, and then I can adhere it down, and then we'll put it on our gift card. So let me get this. There's a number of different ways you can do it. This is the way that I'm doing it tonight. You could use your seal if you wanted to. I'm not using dimensionals because I want it to be flat, and I don't really want to use glue on this because I want it to be, I just want some strength to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this centered in my belly band, press this down, and then I can go from the back of the belly band and get that all pressed down. So now we've got our centerpiece. We can bring back our gift card, slide our belly band over the top, and now we've got this beautiful gift card that you can share with your bride and groom, or actually, I may use this for tomorrow. We've got an anniversary going on right now. So this is a beautiful little gift card holder to hold your gift cards. And you can see how that gift card just pops in here, folds down, wrap it up, and there you go. What do you guys think? Isn't that fun? Don't you think somebody would enjoy receiving that with a gift card in it? It's just so pretty. All right, let's clean things up and let's go to our next card. Move this out of the way. The next card we're going to do, I'm actually going to do, where did I put it? I've lost my cards. I'm going to do this card. And this one was a fun one. I'll show you, I have a couple of different ways that I've done it, but I'm going to show you how to do it first, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So we've done embossing, we've done some coloring with the petal pink, and we've also embossed on the designer series paper. So if I bring the kit out for you to see, trying to keep things organized here, we've got a piece of basic white for our main card base. I've got a piece of petal pink designer series paper. I have a piece of petal pink cardstock, and then I also had a piece of basic white. So to speed up this process, I went ahead and did a few things, but I'm going to show you what I did. So first of all, you can see how this was cut in half. So we're filling each of the corners of the card with the center being open for stamping. So this card it was one piece. I cut it in half. I've already got one half of it embossed. We're going to do the same thing to this petal pink. So I'm going to bring my trimmer back in because I want to show you how to do this. You're basically going to turn it because we're going to do this corner and this corner. So you're basically going to turn it this way. You're going to line your corner of your cardstock up in the track of your cutter. And then you're just going to continue to line it up until you have both corners in the track of the cutter. Now, this is very sensitive, if you will, because it's a corner, and so it's difficult for your cutter to, you don't want to crinkle it up because it'll catch. So when you do this cutting, you want to take your cutting blade, start in the middle of your paper, and then you can bring it back through all the way through. And now what you've got is a nice cut that you did not crinkle up your corners. Then what will happen eventually, we're not there yet, but what will happen eventually is we're going to take our white, which was cut smaller, and we're going to center it on our petal pink. Okay, but before we can do that, we have some embossing that we have to do. And so we're going to start with this designer series paper. But what I need to do, the petal pink is the larger of the two pieces of cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up on each edge of my petal pink. And in fact, yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to line it up on each edge. So once I've got it lined up on each edge, now I know this center piece is the piece where I want to stamp. So I am going to be stamping forever and always. And we're going to emboss it again. So one of the things that I have to do is I've got to take my embossing buddy, and we'll get this line back up again, but I want to take my embossing buddy and I want to make sure that I'm taking care of any oils that might be on the piece of designer series paper. Then what I can do is I can bring my cardstock back up and get it lined up just so that I know where I want to stamp. So we've got that lined up again. I'm going to be stamping and centering in that area. So we're going to bring out the Versamark again. Stamp up the Forever and Always, or ink up, I should say. Move this off to the side. And then I'm going to lean over, do my best to get this centered appropriately. And once I do, I'm going to just move my cardstock out just a little bit. I'm not moving my stamp, but I want to make sure that I'm not stamping on my cardstock. So once I've got this placed, then I can bring it up. I've got 2 stamps I need to clean now. Can't forget to do that. I'm going to bring my embossing powder back in again. And this time we're going to coat this one. And I'm going to do this half, and then we'll take it in and we'll do this half. It's a big piece of paper, so I want to make sure I get everything coated, but I don't want to make a mess either. All right, there we go. So, and then I can just tap it off. And then you can see I have my Forever and Always on my cardstock, my designer series paper. And we're going to bring in the heat tool, and we're going to heat that up. So give me just a second. it doesn't take long to melt your embossing powder. What will happen is if you hold it over your embossing powder too long, it actually melts your embossing powder to the point where it sinks into the paper. So as soon as you see it turn from powder to the shiny gold, that's when you want to stop. Then I've got one more piece that I want to stamp, and this piece is going this way, so I want to stamp it this way. So we're going to turn it and back to my ink again, and we'll just get this all done now, and then we won't have to worry about it later. So we'll do this. I'm gonna try to center it in here as best I can, and then we're gonna do this. And they're far enough apart that even if it's not exactly the same as the other one was, nobody's gonna know. But you know, the one thing that I did do that I forgot, and hopefully I won't have any issues, I didn't use my embossing buddy. I skipped that step, not something that I would recommend. So we'll see what happens. If there's powder, if I have fingerprints, yep, I'll show you here. You'll see. We can fix it, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because I did not use my embossing buddy, can you see the ink that is, or the powder that is still on here? I'm gonna try to take it off with my fingers. Usually I use a brush, but I don't see my brush. So I'm gonna try to remove it with my fingers. But if I'd used my embossing buddy, this would not have happened. So I guess I didn't use my embossing buddy on purpose. Yeah, that's it. I did it on purpose so that I could show you what would happen if you didn't use your embossing buddy. So looks pretty good. I think we're gonna be fine. I think there's gonna be a lot of little extra powder right along here. I just don't have my brush. I'm trying to make sure that my station here has everything that I need. And so rather than trying to go back and forth with everything, I'm trying to just set up the station so that it has everything. But I guess a brush is what I need to add to it. So let's go ahead and get this embossed, warmed up. I'm just moving around as I go. It's getting warm. I'm gonna switch it around. I'm gonna get this side. And then I'm looking to make sure that I got all of it. And it looks like I did. So we're good. So not too bad. We did good with that. But before we glue this down now, what we want to do is we want to color it with our embossing, or excuse me, our Stampin' blends. These are the alcohol ink markers that I've used previously. I wanted to show you an example of what happens, because you're gonna see as I color these, I'm gonna kind of stipple my coloring. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I tried just coloring over the top of my embossing, and two things happened. First of all, for whatever reason, and I don't know that it's supposed to do this, but it did, the alcohol inks melted by embossing. So suddenly I don't have my shiny texture on this end that I did on this end. It also kind of graded up. It's like the gold blended in with the alcohol, and so it graded up. And so I went ahead and created the card anyway, but I wanted to show you what happened to me, so that changed up what I was going to do. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use the pink. I was gonna use the green, but I'm using the green on another color, or on another card. So I'm gonna take these roses and I'm just going to very gently kind of stipple in between. So what I'm trying to not do is touch the gold. If I touch the gold, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just that you don't want to color over the gold this way, like you just were normally coloring, because of the situation that I had. And I didn't want that to happen again. And actually doing it this way with this very light petal pink, it just makes the roses look so delicate. So it was a happy mistake for me. I'm like, oh, I like this much better anyway. You don't necessarily get all of the white, but then that kind of adds highlight to your rose. So I'm trying to do this fairly quickly since I've got 2 roses to do. Aren't you glad that I at least had one of them embossed for you? So let's go ahead and get through this and get that colored up. Again, I'm just putting a very, very light color to it, but it makes it very delicate. So if there's anyone else watching, please say hello so that I know that you're watching. I'm so grateful that Krista and my mom are joining me tonight. I love having you guys here. It's so much fun to talk to somebody than to try to talk to myself. So thank you for joining me. Okay, so let me see. I've got this little petal to do here, and we're done with that one. So let me see. Do I need any more color? I just like the highlighting in it. So let's go ahead and get this one done too. I loved working with these cards. You know, you always at some point in time are going to need a wedding card. Krista, did you tell me that you've got a wedding that you're going to be going to pretty soon? I know you've been making cards and that maybe you already had one for it, but I thought maybe you had mentioned that you've got a wedding that you're going to be going to. And my point for all of that is that rather than wait until you have, did you say yes? But rather than wait until you, oh, the heat embossing is so cool. I agree. Rather than wait until you have a wedding to go to, create your card ahead of time, and then when you have the wedding to go to, you've got a card in your stash, so to speak. Sometimes, and you don't have to necessarily finish it. Like if you wanted to customize it with your sentiment, you could do that. But for me, I love having extra cards available, and even though I'm calling these wedding cards, they certainly could be anniversary cards as well. And I'm actually going to show you on the next card. I made the same card, I just changed it up so you can see how versatile these all are. So there we go. We've got our roses colored. Now we just get to start assembling. So we're going to take the one rose and adhere it to its pretty pink cardstock. So we'll get that done. And I've left about 1/8 of an inch on each side. So again, you know, I love using my glue because I can move things around if I need to. And then we'll go ahead and do this one. The heat embossing though just adds just an elegant look to your cards. It's a lot of fun. And if you're using the gold, but you know, for example, you could stamp on black cardstock and emboss in white, and then your white would pop. Or, you know, our, what do I want to say? Our metallics, we've got gold, and then we've got silver, and we've got bronze, and they come in a set of 3. All right, so let's go ahead and get our base ready to go so we can get our designer series paper adhered. So we're gonna go ahead and get this adhered. And this has got, again, about 1/8 of an inch around. I like the borders. Sometimes I go with the wider borders, but I've just, for some reason, recently, I've been doing a lot of 1/8 of an inch borders. So you've got just some color peeking through. All right, so let's go ahead and get this down. And again, I'm just gonna move it around. I've got it placed, but I'm gonna move it around so I get it centered appropriately. I can tell you that my cardstock, because my designer series paper, because I did emboss it, it did have a little bit of warping. So I wanna make sure that I get it adhered well. The glue's holding it down really well, so all is good. And then what we'll do is we'll come up and we will adhere our corners, and we are almost done. And the corners are actually going to line up with the designer series paper. So I did not cut them so that there's any kind of border between the designer series paper and the cardstock, I just didn't feel like that was necessary. I wanted the designer series paper to stand out in the middle with the embossing. So I'm going to go ahead and get that all lined up and adhered down. I'm using plenty of glue for these. Let me turn this one this way and get it lined up as well. I probably could have gone up a little bit higher. Let me see, this is probably glue, so I'm going to get rid of that little spot there. And I've got some glue here. I'm going to get rid of that little spot there. And now we have our card. I could have probably centered it up a little bit higher, but it still works very well. I was also going to show you this little tray that we've got. I had a rogue gem that got away from me, and it lost its backing because I'm going to put some of these gems on. And what was funny about it is I didn't know I didn't want to keep it in here because I was afraid I was going to lose it. So I'm like, oh, got this handy dandy little tray now that I can use. So I'm going to go ahead and put that gem on, and I'm going to put it up here with just a little dot of glue. And I guess the glue decided that's where it was going to go. So we'll go ahead and turn this over. I'll pick it up with your take your pick, and then I'm going to place it here. If I can get it off of my adhesive end. I may need some help with my tweezers if I can't get it. There we go. It just needs to stick now with the glue, and then I'm going to put another gem. Oh, I don't need glue. These are adhesive. So I'm going to pull this one up, and I'm going to put it here, and then I'm going to take a smaller one again, and I'm going to put it down here. So now we have our second card completed. And how pretty is that? I just love these cards. I wanted to show you though, I showed you the one with the rose that got grayed. When I first did this card, you could see there's no designer series paper. So what I did is I just stamped on the cardstock itself, but I did matte. And so there's like this extra layer. You can barely see it, but it adds some dimension. I'm like, oh, that's okay. It's okay. It wasn't doing anything for me. Plus, I knew I wanted to make another card anyway. So then what I did is I did it a second time, did my Forever and Always the same way. This time I did not matte my roses. I just placed them on the cardstock, and that was okay too. But I finally settled on this card because I really just liked what the designer series paper did. So there we go. Let me make sure this one's, nope, this one I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more gluing on it. It feels like not enough. So let me give a little bit more glue to it, and then we'll let it set. I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to come in with my tweezers this time to help pull it off my putty end. So we'll let that set. All right, so I'm going to move this off to the side, and we will start working on card number 3, which is right here. So a story about this card. This was a mistake. I was creating this card and I was coloring, and I dropped my marker and it made a nice little mess. So I decided, okay, I'm going to salvage this. I don't want to trash my card. So I did some more speckling on it, and it's one of my favorite cards. I love this. So I'm going to show you how to make this, and we're gonna do some practicing with a couple of different techniques. But I wanted to pull the kit out just to show you what it was. We've got the, let me make sure I've got everything. We've got the basic white cardstock. We've got a Moody Mauve layer of cardstock. We have another layer of basic white cardstock. We have a layer of Moody White, now I can't even say it, Moody Mauve cardstock. And then we've got more white cardstock, basic white cardstock. And then we've got a cardstock for our sentiment. So I think the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our embossing done, and I embossed both pieces. So one of the stamps I've got here, let me pull it out. I don't necessarily have it on Where's my stamp set? Here we go. I don't even think I have the right stamps here with me. What stamp set did I use? Oh, I do. Oh, you're going to learn a lot in this one. Now it's all coming back to me. This is the stamp set that we used, or the stamp that we used. Inside my stamp case, I have a mask. What I did is I stamped on a piece of Post-it note and fussy cut it, and now I have a mat. Thank you so much, Krista. Okay, so how we're going to do this, because this is all embossed, so you've got to do it in layers. So I'm going to start with this one. Let me get, well, first off, I need to clean my stamps. I'm so good at doing that normally, and I've just been so focused on getting other things done that I haven't gotten. So before I take this off, we're going to clean off the stamp. We're going to clean off this stamp. And we're going to clean off this stamp. And then I'm going to take one of these blocks, or maybe I've got another block. Maybe I'll do that. Does this fit? No, not big enough. Let me pull out another, let me see, maybe this block will work. Yeah, I think this block will work. Okay. So let me think about this for just a second. We're going to make the initial stamp, and it's going to be right in the middle. Okay, so embossing buddy, we're not going to get the embossing buddy this time because I've been touching this cardstock right and left. So we're going to do embossing buddy, and I'm going to set off the side because we're not done using it. We're going to bring out the Versamark, and we're going to ink it up. And I'm going to center this flower basically right here in the middle of this paper. Okay. Now we've got that. I'm going to set this off to the side because we're not done using it. I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder again. And I'm going to coat this up. Get a good coating on it. And you can see it's all nice and clean. No problems with it. So what we have to do is we have to heat this one up first. So let's go ahead and get that done. It's all melting. Make sure I got it all. Okay. So we've got the first step done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the mask and we're going to lay it over what we've just embossed. So you shouldn't be able to see it now. Krista, you love masking. It's so fun. You did a great job. Okay, now we're going to take this again and we are just going to set it up so that we can get more flowers. So I'm going to stamp on this side. Lift it up, and I'm going to stamp it on the other side. And let's see, where do I want to go? I think I want to go about right here. And we're going to actually be stamping on the mask, but you'll see what happens. So I'm going to pull that up. The next thing we're going to do, let me close this up. The next thing we're going to do is we're very carefully going to take the mask off. Okay. So I want to save it because I can use it again. And I'm going to take this and dip it back into the embossing powder again. And I've got a couple of little areas that I want to just take care of. Probably where my finger was. I'm going to try to bounce it off the back way, but you can now see I've got it all my flowers. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to emboss it again, and we're going to get, I don't want to go over the part that I've already embossed. I only want to go over the stuff that I've added that's new. So I'll put that down, make sure I'm getting it. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get everything. Okay, oops. There we go. Okay, I have everything. Now what we need to do, let me clean this off. We're gonna start to color this in. And the gold just shines through. But I'm gonna do it basically the same way I did the other one. I don't wanna go too dark with it. I've got my Moody Mauve ink. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this colored. I'm gonna show you the technique here in just a second, but let's go ahead and get this colored in. So really what I'm doing is very lightly, just touching the flowers. If there's a little white showing through, it's not a problem because it kind of adds a little bit of accent. So, and you know, I love coloring, I really do. Do you remember those adult color books? I mean, they still have them. But, you know, once upon a time, I would just sit down and color. Remember, Mom, you came to visit me in Massachusetts and we sat down and we colored? I think you've got one of the pictures that I colored on your it's hanging in your wall in your bedroom or something, maybe your craft room. But I love coloring, and so this is kind of, I love to stamp, I love to create. So sometimes I create so I can color. So let's go ahead. I'm going to try to get through this fairly quickly because I don't want you guys to have to watch me. If I was thinking, I probably would have, by the magic of TV, already had this one colored. I could show you how we did the masking and everything, and then by the magic of TV, already had this colored, but I didn't think that far ahead this time around. So you guys just get to watch me color. But I want to look at your comments too. All right. You like this set, do you, Krista? Good. Add it to your wish list. It's always fun to have a wish list. And, you know, I used the same set last week with the cards as well. So you've got lots of examples to how to use it. All right. Let me go ahead. Finish getting this done, and then we'll add a little bit of green to it. But I'll show you here in just a second. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. We've got these little blooms that are popping out. Next week, we're going to be using a totally different set. I am so excited about this set. It actually is in the celebration flyer, but the cards that I created are just so pretty. So I'm really excited to share those with you. So let's make sure I'm getting all of this. Let me see, I've got a little bit more to do here on this petal, on this flower, and then we can move to green. I've got actually 2 more flowers that I've got to do. And I'm not trying to be precise. I don't want to melt my embossing powder. And I want to have a little bit of the highlight going on, so I'm not really being very precise with all of this. So we're almost done, and then we'll bring in the green. There we go, little blossoms here, a little blossom there. Okay, oh, here, I missed one here. All right. We got, let's get a little bit over here. All right, I think I got my flowers done. I'm going to use the light Old Olive to get my leaves colored. And again, I'm just really making brush strokes. I'm trying to stay off the top of the embossing. I have seen people that have been able to color over the embossing. I just didn't have really good luck with it. It might be a user error, so I'm not gonna say that it wasn't something that I was doing wrong, but I actually like the fact that I've got this gold embossing and I'm able to, I think I've got a little bit of flower right here I want to color in. And I think we've got it all. Isn't that pretty? I'll bring it up so you guys can see, and I'll try to tilt it so maybe you guys can see the shininess I don't know if you can see it like I can see it, but there's like a shine to it. It's so fun. Okay, so let's talk about how we got this mess. I mean, actually, I love it. I love this card. So I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to move all of this stuff off to the side. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways that we can do this. And of course, I'm getting all of my stuff out of the way because I don't want to speckle anything, except we have some more embossing we have to do. I forgot my sentiment. But we're going to go ahead and speckle for a minute. So I have the Moody Mauve Stampin' Blends, but I also have my Moody Mauve ink. I promise you it was right here. And basically what I've got is I've got one of our water brushes. And the water brushes, I mean, you literally fill it with water. And then when you press out, you can, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm pressing water out. So what I could do is I could take this and I could press it down on my mat. So let's just put a little bit, oh, that's a lot of ink, but I got some ink on my mat. And then what I can do is I can take my water pen and I can blend the ink into it. And I can get it as dark or as thin as I want, but I'm going to blend the ink into it. And then after I've got that done, then I can take the cap and I can just start to speckle. Let me see. Do I not have it watery enough? Let me get a little bit waterier. Actually, I'm going to use my bone folder. But can you see the speckles start to form? So we've got little speckles. The big speckles, if you get a little bit closer and you get it more watery, you can get bigger speckles. The further away you are, let me get this more water in this. The further away you are, the lighter the speckles are. But you can go ahead and speckle up your paper like this using your water brush and ink. And I'm going to set this down for just a second, but you could smush your ink pad together. And, well, I got to smush it better than that. I'm going to bring it in here and smush it. And then, oh, now I've got ink on the inside. And I could blend the ink with the water brush in here. And then it just dries and you can use it again. Or I could take an ink block like this and I could tap it and I could blend on this. Or now that I've got my glass mat, I can just do it here. So when you want to clean this up, basically all you have to do is continue to squish water and eventually you can see it's all clean. All clean. So I'm going to show you with the Stampin' Blend, but let me get out my nice little rag that actually comes with your glass mat so I can get this all cleaned up. So, oh my goodness, that was so easy. What a mess I made and I got it all cleaned up. All right, same thing. I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to use my Stampin' Blend. The Stampin' Blend, I would use the brush end of it and I would tap again on my bone folder. Now what I find with the Stampin' Blend, and I know a lot of people do this, it's a very, I don't know if you can even see that, it's a very fine speckle. If you want fine, then this is what you want to use. If you want something that's a little bit more prominent, then you definitely probably want to use the water brush. So with that being said, I'm going to move this off to the side. I'm going to bring back my pretty little flowers. And since I've already got ink on the inside of my stamp pad, I didn't mean to do that. Here, I'm going to go ahead and get my water brush out again. And I'm going to squeeze some water in here. Get it juicy. And then I'm going to take this and from a distance, I'm going to start to speckle my picture. It's not going to have the big blobs on it, but it's going to have speckles, and I'm excited about my speckles. So I don't know if you guys can see or not, but it is now speckled. So this is what I'm going to use on my card. So To clean this up, all I have to do is basically turn this over and it'll dry up. I'm going to clean my brush on my mat again. Why not? And then I'll put the cap on. It's ready to go for the next project, whatever that is, and I'm gonna clean this up. So, easy peasy. All right, one more thing we have to do before I can start to assemble, and that is I forgot about the sentiment. So here we go again, we're going to emboss. All of tonight is nothing but embossing. I've got a stamp that says thinking of you, and this stamp goes along with this stamp set. Let me show you it. It's called Wonderful Thoughts. Thinking of You is right here. But what's cool about this stamp set, first of all, you've got all these amazing sentiments, and who couldn't use more sentiments? But inside, because it's a bundle, you have die cuts, and these die cuts then cut out the sentiments. So you've got a lot of fun things that you can cut out. And Thinking of You happens to be one of the things that I'm going to be cutting out. So let's get it stamped first and get it embossed. And then I've got this cute little die that's going to cut out Thinking of You. Okay. So I am stamping on, this is a photopolymer stamp, and when I stamp with my photopolymer stamps, I really do like using my Stampin' Pierce mat because it just gives me a little bit more of a cushion. So let me take my embossing buddy again, and I'm just going to coat that. And then I've got my Versamark ink here. So we'll go ahead and get this stamped. And let's see, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to cut it out. So we're going to get that stamped. Make sure I got a good connection. Sounded good. We'll go ahead and bring in my embossing powder again. See, this is why I like to keep the embossing powder like this. Have you seen how many times I've gone in and out of this tonight? When I'm making cards, sometimes I do make them in multiples, and so it just makes it a lot easier for me. So I'm going to make sure I've got a good coating on this. And I do set this off to the side. I'm actually going to put the lid now on my embossing powder so I don't spill it. And let's go ahead and heat this up before we cut it out. So. I'm going to turn it just to make sure I can see. There you go. Now we're ready to cut it out. So let me bring in my cut and emboss that I have here. And you guys, you'll notice I brought out a clean plate. I felt so bad. My plates were getting so bad. I'll use them when you're not looking, but I thought, oh gosh, for my live, I've got to get them a clean plate. So I'm going to take my old top plate, make it my bottom plate, and I'm going to take my squeaky clean new plate and make it my top plate. So let's take the die. I'm going to get a little bit of tape. And let's see. Turn it this way. Get it all lined up. Sorry if I'm getting my head in the way. I'm trying to see all of it because it's a pretty tight fit. Let's see. I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to use this little piece of tape to hold that. We'll go ahead and crank this through real quick. Pull that out. Oh, and now we have Thinking of You. All right, let's go ahead and get this stuff put up and we can start to assemble this card. Oh, one more thing we have to do. I bet you're like, I bet you forgot something. I did. I'm gonna bring in another tool. One of my favorites. It's big, but there's a technique that I used on this card that I wanted to show you. So if you look at this card, the bottom of the card is embossed. So what I did is I took my piece of white layer, I brought it into my Simply Scored, And let me see if I can, I don't know if I can do this. Let me see. I'm going to get it turned so you guys can see. But basically what I did, I got to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every 1/4 of an inch I embossed. Oh, and I'm going to do it this way. You guys thought I was going to do it the wrong way, didn't you? All right, every 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. So here's 1. And then a 1/4 of an inch, 2. Gosh, I hope I'm doing that right. 2, 3. How many did I count? 4. Somebody tell me how many I counted. Do I have to count again? Did I do 5 or 6? I did at least 5, right? I gotta count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you. One more. I wonder if I'm off a little bit. Maybe. Okay. There we go. So now we've got this embossed. Can you see that? Very simple. But what's going to happen now is when I take my other layers that I have, and mostly I'm talking about this layer, I can center it in my card, and I've got a fun little embossed layer down below. So let's go ahead and start to build. We're going to adhere our embossed flowers. To this layer. We've got our speckles. So we'll go ahead and get this down. And I'm gonna get it all lined up. The speckles are always different. It's interesting. I love doing it. It adds a fun technique to it. And then I'm going to take this layer and then lay it on this layer. So we'll get this down. Let me get this centered up right while it can still kind of scooch around. So we've got this one, and then this layer is going to go on your card base layer. So we've got several layers going here. My bone folder is right here. So I'm going to take this layer and lay it down. Oh, I'm going to turn this over. Fold wasn't quite exact, but that's what I do when it doesn't meet up exactly. I just put the short end on the back side. Nobody knows. All right. And then we're going to take this layer and put it down with dimensionals. So let me get some dimensionals out here and pop it up. Off. And then I'm going to get it centered right here in the middle. Try to get it even on all edges. Do my best. That looks pretty good. Let me double check it. Make sure I got it straight. Okay, we've got that. And then the last piece is we're going to take some dimensionals. And we are going to, I'm looking for some mini dimensionals. Let me see, I'm sure I've got some here. Some mini dimensionals on the back of the sentiment, and we'll pop the sentiment up, and then this card will be done. We'll put the sentiment down at the bottom, about right here. See if that's straight. Works for me, and our card is done. Isn't this just the prettiest card? And really, it was just so simple. It's really layering, and you know, we stamped the flowers and embossed them. So we've got this. I wanted to show you another example If you didn't want to do the gold embossing, I did stamp in the Versamark, not the Versamark, the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I colored my daisies in and my flowers in. It's the exact same card. I just did it differently. So it's fun to have a variety. All right, let me move things around here just a second. That was our last card. So I'm gonna try to clean up my mess here just a little bit so I can bring the other cards in. So we've got this card that we did. Let me move this out of the way so we can get to our other cards. We've got, let me see, I moved things out of the way so well that I can't get to them. We've got this one that has the belly band that opens up with the gift card. And then the other one that we've got, I put it here somewhere. Oh, here it is. It's this one with the roses and the pretty petal pink. So fun, so fun. This set was, you know, I just start playing with these sets and it's amazing, you know, what you're able to create and just how pretty everything is. So let me come back to see you guys. Hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. Remember, this is a to-go class. If you're interested in receiving it for free, you just need to place an order in my online store. Go to my website and that will give you all of the information that you need, both for the to-go class for tonight and also my Create Happiness Club that goes live on January the 15th. So let me do this. I'm going to put up the host code really quickly, just in case you need to write it down. But if you've got any questions, please leave your questions in the comments. I will answer you. If you will, this live will eventually be posted to, probably tomorrow, be posted to YouTube. If you would go out and you would like and share both in YouTube, and if you're following me on my Facebook channel, you know, be sure to join or like, share. I'm growing this channel and I really appreciate your help with this. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. Next week, we've got a new bundle that we're using that you guys are going to love. I promise. I fell in love with it. I don't know, I always say that all the time, but it's the truth. So anyway, have a good evening and I will see you guys next week. Bye everyone.